Hey, it's Nadia with Empower Counseling. Today I want to talk about chronic pain or chronic illness and the benefits of utilizing mindfulness activities. So first, let's review what's the difference between acute pain and chronic pain. So acute pain is a pain that everybody experiences at some point in their life. So it could be the result of an accident, some kind of injury, a broken bone that heals just fine, a pulled muscle, um, you hit your elbow and it's bruised, those kinds of things. We all feel it. On the other hand, chronic pain is a long-term, possibly even lifelong experience of chronic pain. One way to think about it is like having a second full-time job. So people with chronic pain often experience a more difficult time working a regular 9 to 5 full-time job. Maybe they're not sleeping well as a result of the pain. Maybe they get stiff easily. Maybe walking is painful, going up and down stairs, typing and doing other work-related activities. Chronic pain, it's like a full-time job on top of the one that you already have. So, what are the mental health symptoms that kind of go along with chronic illness or chronic pain? So we have depression, anxiety, anger, feelings of inappropriate guilt, low self-esteem, feelings of loneliness, irritability, frustration, bitterness, and resentment. So a lot of those things that go along with chronic pain and chronic illness, they really suck, right? So what's the link between mindfulness and chronic pain or chronic illness? So there's 3 things that we want to consider when we're looking at mindfulness for chronic pain or chronic illness. So we have the physical sensations, we have the thoughts, or the stories that we tell ourselves, and we have the emotions. So for example, physical sensations is a sharp pain, a dull ache, a sudden shooting pain, almost like nerve pain, those kinds of things. Emotions that go along with it, anxiety, anger, sadness, etc. And then the thoughts or stories that we tell ourselves would be, for example, say you have bad knees, a bad back, and bad hands, so you need help around the house sometimes. It's very common for people in this type of situation to feel like a burden. So the story they may tell themselves is, I will never be better. I will never be able to do these things on my own, and I'm always going to be a burden. So what's happening here is you're trapping yourself in a cycle of misery. You're emphasizing your pain or amplifying it. You are experiencing the negative emotions and getting caught in those and being just a negative fortune teller, right? So you're telling yourself these really depressing things about your life. So what is mindfulness? So mindfulness is a stress reduction, kindness, self-compassion type activity that when used on a daily basis or used properly, it can help alleviate negative symptoms. So these would be mental health symptoms that we're talking about. So what you're doing when you're using mindfulness is you're acknowledging what you're feeling, you are accepting it without judgment, and you're not letting it rule your life, right? So you're experiencing it in the present moment. So you recognize that this is the present moment, and you don't judge in the sense of, okay, well, I hurt now, so it's going to be this bad always, right? You accept it in the present moment without judgment. You're not judging how it's going to affect your life long term. So you're showing yourself self-compassion by just recognizing it as this is my current reality. That doesn't mean that I'm always going to feel this way or I'm always going to be a burden and those kinds of things. Mindfulness is used to develop a inner sense of just calmness and peacefulness and kindness, and it really helps boost your emotions so you feel happier, calmer, more peaceful, tranquil, more able to handle those day-to-day stressors that we all experience. So mindfulness also releases the feel-good chemicals that are, the reward center of our brain. So in some cases, when used correctly, for some individuals, it can be as effective as an antidepressant. Of course, this isn't always the case, so consult with a medical provider about these concerns. So how does it help with chronic pain? So that's what we're here about. So when you're utilizing mindfulness, when you have chronic pain, what you're doing is you are working to improve your quality of life. So while it might not help the physical sensation of pain, it can reduce suffering, because pain and suffering are not synonymous. So what that means is pain is physical, suffering is the story we tell ourselves and the negative emotions. So while you can still experience pain physically, you can improve your quality of life by being able to nip those negative emotions and thoughts in the bud, right? So you're reducing your suffering that can be related to the pain. You're also shifting your locus of control. Oftentimes when we experience chronic pain or have a chronic illness of some sort, it's very easy to feel like all of the power is external. So that's called the external locus of control. Those outside factors determine what your life looks like and you have no power in it. So it shifts to an internal locus of control. So you're recognizing the things that you have the power to control, and that gives you it gives you more confidence in your ability to control your experience. So you're recognizing what you can do about your current situation and what is not entirely based on external factors. So it also helps people with chronic pain or chronic illness learn how to live with it. Instead of fighting it all the time, which is exhausting because you're fighting in like a no-win battle at that point, you are learning to accept it and learning to live with it. So you're showing yourself some kindness that, okay, this is what it is, but it doesn't determine my life. I can determine how I feel. I can control that. So how it benefits the psychological state, however, it reduces repetitive negative thinking or reactivity to negative, painful situations, scenarios, those kinds of things. It increases a sense of acceptance for like painful emotional, mental sensations that may be related to the present moment, such as like failing a test, stuff like that. So things in the present moment. It improves emotional or psychological flexibility. And so what that means is you're able to stay in contact with the current present moment without giving so much power to the unpleasant thoughts and feelings that may have dictated your behavior in the past. So you're not basing your behavior off of those really negative external things. So again, utilizing that locus of control. It reduces rumination on negative thought patterns, anxiety, and avoidant behaviors. It increases that self-compassion that I touched on a minute ago, and it helps facilitate a relaxation response. So that, of course, helps reduce stress. So for example, this could help with pain if you're someone that carries your stress like in your shoulders, very common for women, for example. So when you're creating the relaxation response, you can help let those muscles relax. So you're not as tense all the time. You're using mindfulness to recognize what you're doing with that stress, and you're able to let it go, right? So how does one practice mindfulness? Well, there's many ways to practice mindfulness. Some great ways would be doing yoga, going for walks in nature, just doing things that are relaxing and can keep you focused on the present moment. So, for example, it's important to recognize those five senses. So, what we're doing is we're recognizing what we see. So, say you're at the beach. What do you see? You see sand and water and seagulls and people. What do you hear? You hear the waves crashing against the shore. What about the sense of touch? What do you feel? Do you feel the sand between your toes? Do you feel the warmth of the sun? Those kinds of things. What are you tasting? Are you drinking something? Are you eating something? Do you just taste the salt in the air? And of course, like, what are you smelling? So do you smell like a food truck stand? Do you smell just the ocean? All those kinds of things. Do you smell sunscreen, for example? So you're focusing on the five senses. So this also comes in handy when you want to use guided imagery, relaxation, or meditation. So you're, for example, with the ocean, you're mentally putting yourself there even though you're not there right now. And we're all in quarantine right now, so it can be very difficult to get to the beach. So you're able to utilize mindfulness and help put yourself there and focus on that as your present reality, for example. Doing one thing at a time that requires your total attention is also a use of mindfulness. So in honesty, it could be you're watching a funny show and you're able to stay in that moment watching the show without getting on your phone, without getting lost in your thoughts. So something that really gets all of your focus. It could also be reading a book. It could be, just standing up, it could be like swaying back and forth or pacing. There's a lot of things that you can do and use mindfulness at the same time. You can do grounding exercises. So how mindfulness comes in there is those five sensations. You're identifying what lines up with those sensations around you. So it's like planting your feet on the ground, putting your hands on a chair or on your pants, and you're feeling the texture. And then of course the other sensations. So living in the present moment. One that can be very beneficial for chronic pain, however, would be the body scan exercise. So it's kind of similar to autogenic relaxation or progressive muscle relaxation, but a little bit different because it doesn't require you to tense up your muscles, such as progressive muscle relaxation. So it is a little more similar to autogenic relaxation, which is where you are going through your body and you're telling yourself that that body part is warm and heavy. It's really, really, really great to help you fall asleep. So the body scan exercise is you are going through each body part. So whether it is your toe to your head or your head to your toe, you're going through your entire body. So say we start with our feet. So we could be looking at 1 foot at a time. So you're scanning that part of your body. You're recognizing if it hurts, if it doesn't hurt. If it does, you accept that it hurts right now without getting lost in the emotions and without getting lost in the story about it. And what you do during the body scan exercise is you're also focusing on bringing your breath in, so deep breathing, and you're imagining yourself breathing into that body part. So you're showing that part of your body kindness by giving it oxygen. You can also envision a light being put into that body part. And it's really beneficial when that specific part hurts, because we do know that when you bring oxygen into your body and it gets into your muscles, it helps you relax. That's why deep breathing is so beneficial. So you go through your entire body, you're breathing into the body parts that hurt, You're accepting that it hurts right now without letting it define who you are or defining your future. So another example of a story we might tell ourselves is, I'm depressed now. That just means I'm a depressed person. I'll always be depressed. Instead of allowing that to define who you are, you can say, okay, this is what depression feels like. That's it. It's not who you are. It's an emotion that you're experiencing in that moment. So you're accepting that you're experiencing it right now, and then you're not judging it by allowing it to define who you are, and you're just letting it go. And so there are many, many ways to practice mindfulness. There are many, many benefits to it. It is really great for people that don't feel like they're in control of a lot of things, which is very characteristic of somebody with chronic illness or chronic pain. It's very easy to get lost in that doom and gloom associated with that prognosis, diagnosis, etc. So, with all that being said, sometimes it's just not enough. And this is where a counselor can really benefit you, because sometimes we need to unpack those emotions and maybe even identify other methods to alleviate those negative symptoms, in addition to the mindfulness. And there's nothing wrong with that. So if you are in Georgia and you are experiencing this roadblock that you just can't get past, whether it is just straight up emotions and negative thinking, or whether it is chronic pain, chronic illness, and all of those kinds of things, you can give us a call at Empower Counseling at 770-283-8386, or check us out on our website at empowercounseling.net, where you can meet our therapist, schedule a free phone consultation, or just schedule an appointment. We are here to help you relax, help you develop self-compassion, and help you utilize mindfulness and other great skills to take power of your life.